Welcome, everyone. It's evening time, so I'll give you a history of how these things come along for OEMs and how do you actually take their requirements and bring something out in quick succession, which is all every OEM wants. So with that said, let me move on. So we're talking about Hero MotoCorp. They are probably, if not the largest, one of the largest makers of motorbikes in the world. But for those who may not have known their name, you could see their collaboration with Honda, collaboration with, say, Triumph motorcycles, or, say, Harley Davidson. So it's a well-known name. So what is their... See, every OEM has a intent when it embarks on something. And that is what they want it to be the future of mobility, which means they want to be branded, and that's the key here. So what are the objectives? So operational efficiency, so in this case, engineering improvements, constantly working with. Then you have enhanced driver experience now, which is provided through seamless connectivity. And then, of course, security, compliance, real-time monitoring, all this becomes important. And of course, I would not put too much emphasis, but if you have lots of data over time, you tend to monetize it. So what are the considerations for an OEM? Their brand is really what they are trying to make sure doesn't lose value. But the challenge here is finding partners who can put it together. The challenge here was their previous experience was not good, which meant over less than 50% of their vehicles were not connecting. And so the management was not even confident, those that are connecting, what they were actually connecting or delivering. So you already have a status quo from where they needed to improve drastically. So, of course, they wanted to launch in 12 months, to launch a new brand of vehicles. So these are the challenges. So concern from a previous launch and squeezing the timeline for delivery. And this is to really enhance the brand value. But one thing was the previous thing was proprietary. So that was not going to be a mistake they wanted to repeat. So they wanted to make something that was based on standards. But they wanted something more. Standards is one thing, but they wanted to bring OTA and also live data analysis to the table. So it just creates a more complicated environment for delivering. And of course, 1 year to finish it off. Now, when you say 1 year, it's not that you deliver on the 31st day of the 12th month, but everything has to be wrapped up by 7th month. Otherwise, you will not roll the vehicle in 12 months. So these are the challenges. So selection of partners. So AWS, of course, not to tell too much about, they are the big force in the cloud. And then, of course, we as Excelfore have a robust platform based on a standard. So we take what is publicly available as a spec and implemented it. So in this case, what are the ground realities? More than 5 million vehicles on the road, 80 million devices that are actually being updated, and of course, connect to the cloud with the OTA. So now look at the diversity of the application space. So you see it's already in passenger cars, commercial vehicles, construction and agriculture, and now, of course, in motorcycles. So with this setup, what is the challenge? So it's a distributed framework. So it allows proprietary setups to be designated to the vehicle where customers can use what they have already developed, but create a stub that allows standard messages to go back and forth. So this way what happens, this what we call the center, which is the pipeline, stays standard. Because any changes to a pipeline, which means customization, and you want to get away from customization. So anything that is proprietary, push it to the app or push it to the devices. Now, what is more important here is how this solution was put together, right? So in this case, you're bringing two frameworks. One is the real data framework of Amazon's managed services that are already in existence, like the IoT core, and the eSync framework. Now, how the challenges become ensconced is the fact that the customer has already set the eSync OTA as their platform. So when you have eSync OTA platform and you bring a live data in, you have to harmonize everything so that the vehicle interactions are consistent and stay core. So one of the things we did was take the MQTT interfaces that Amazon brought to the table, harmonize them so that when they come to the vehicle, it is the same interface that a asynchronous interface like the HTTPS would inquire into the vehicle. So this is the complexity. But the complexity cannot be transferred to the application space. So created a standardized application so the customer doesn't know which Amazon service is being invoked, except what function they want to invoke. So this way what happens is application development does not have to engage in a complex knowing of what services are being put together. So what is next? Now you have invested in a framework of complexity, which means you need to get to reuse it many times over on many different platforms. So in this situation, what really happens is, I'm going back to the slide that was created previously. So you have the framework, but now you have to bring the advances that are coming in. So you have Gen AI and you have agentic AI. So agentic is basically what I call vehicle-based. And Gen AI is where a lot more data is coming in. So Gen AI has two flavors. One is learning from the vehicle and proposing a solution or a fix. The other one is getting the whole process of running a campaign into an orchestration that any layman could, through interaction to the system, build a campaign. These are two different ways agentic AIs can enhance the whole OTA process for the customer. Sorry, not agentic AI, but Gen AI. Now, if you talk about Edge AI, it allows you to drill to a single vehicle and a single ECU. So that's the level of granularity you're able to access. So when you're actually giving if a technician is looking at a customer, what it's able to do is able to react to the problems that he's seeing. Customer feels close to the process, feels that the customer is being taken care of by the OEM's, what I call backend. And what you end up is having a stickiness to the customer of the vehicle. So that means the next time around they can actually buy a similar vehicle or a new one, but all of the same brand. So this is very important for an OEM, that the brand value should not get diminished. But at the same time, if they are releasing 5 different vehicle platforms, they don't want to create multiply different branded pipelines. They all have to be the same, because if you change anything, means time, missing time. So what's the challenge? So in the end, it was completed in time. Customer feedback was very high. They got over 96% access to the vehicles. Now, should I take and clap myself in the back? Answer is no. Because the only thing that matters to me is not getting a call at midnight saying there is a fire. So to us, as they say in investment, you're as good as your last delivery. All right, thank you.
Okay, all right. Well, with that, that's very good. I do have a question for you, since we have a little bit of extra time. So there are several proprietary approaches to OTAs in the auto industry. Go ahead and grab your microphone. Sure. Why does standardization matter for automotive OTAs?
So this is an important thing, because fragmentation causes time expense. So if suppose a vendor develops apps for an OEM, and let's take 2 examples, BMW and Mercedes. Each is using a different framework. So he is taking the same application.
Right.
His engineering cost just went twice.
Right.
So if you had the same framework, the application development costs slow, and its ability to proliferate across platforms becomes higher.
Very good. Very good. Well, thank you again for spending the time. Big round of applause again for our friends from Excelfore.